This the story of crypto blood and truth blitz. Ask them a cliff high what the truth is. They was just talking about the blockchain. That's when they heard Janet yelling and the cops came. They said give me all your Bitcoin and lock aim. Then Jamie Dimon showed up and the shots rained. So they hopped in the Lambo and took off fast. Welcome to the Block Party Podcast.
Crowd.
But the problem is, though, I don't understand how you could feel like bringing the same guys, the regulators and the banks, they're hand in hand. We know that. Bringing them, inviting them into this space is going to fix anything. I don't know, man.
We got to fix the regulators first.
What do you think, man?
We got to fix the regulators, and the regulators are paid to run cover for the manipulation of the old system. That's the only reason the old system's up and running. That's what Root A stands for. It's a Fortran programming term invented by Greenspan in the 60s to rig the markets. And the regulators have been a big part of it. If you go through the CFTC and the DTCC and the World Bank and the Federal Reserve, the regulation is all about controlling the con, and it has been for over 100 years. So if we are moving into a new system and we really destroy the old system with, like, Deutsche Bank just announced, got all kinds of dings today, and it's about to get on the watch list for the Fed's stress test.
And that's a bunch of bull.
$50 trillion market cap, or $50 trillion derivative book at Deutsche Bank. That's nothing. AIG, what was that? Is it 800 or what was it, $300 billion bailout? This is 50 trillion. That ain't gonna happen. That's gonna blow the system sky high, and nobody's stopping it. So we'll see what happens. The old system crashes. My ideal world is the old system crashes, the cryptos take over, the regulators are in there that do their job, take out the criminals, and we move forward.
But what are the chances that we're actually gonna have a system where the criminals get taken out? You know what I mean?
Exactly. They're coming in now. From
there will
what
always
I see.
be, there'll always be criminals. But
right.
Well, it gets back to my whole concept at Road to Ruta, and looking at the original comics, there is a battle between the good guys and the bad guys, and the bad guys have been winning for over 100 years, and I think it's the good guys' time. The question is, what Greenspan did with derivatives is take off all regulation back in the late 90s to blow that bubble as big as possible, so that when it does blow, when the derivative bubble does blow, it destroys everything in the system. And with Deutsche Bank in the news almost every day, really bad stuff happening, and Trump putting on the all the tariffs, he knows that's just amazingly destructive for any economic system. They're really, no one's trying to stop this snowball from rolling off a cliff. And then it comes to, okay, if the old system gets destroyed, all the debt is destroyed, because that's our problem right now anyway, is massive amounts of debt. Then we really could be in a situation where, okay, we got to go to something else. We don't like our old controllers. We don't like, the banks and the Federal Reserve System and all that. So what are we going to do? And the cryptos are sitting there like a shining star and say, we can go into cryptos. We just got to route out the bad things that go on in cryptos, in my opinion.
So you think basically right now they're just trying to maybe, the good guys, as you would put it, are kind of just waiting for the kinks to get worked out and for crypto to mature enough to where that would be a viable solution?
Well, they're not putting the stops on it. There's been no laws in the U.S. that said, no, you can't do crypto.
Right.
It's been more like, hey, let's slow this down. But, they could stop cryptos at any moment. Yes, cryptos will go on around the world anyway, but it really would put a kink in the armor.
Yeah, it would hurt it big time.
Yeah. If the United States banned all cryptos tomorrow, how long would it take for them to recover from something like that? It would take decades. But they don't want it. And as a matter of fact, if you listen to the CFTC, the new CFTC guy, the new regulator for the CFTC, he was all about the cryptos in his
was it Clay something?
No, that's the SEC guy.
SEC
guy. Okay. Christian
Carlo. Yeah.
He's a real good guy.
He sounded very optimistic when it comes to cryptos. His kids like him, and I know he seemed to be very he had a slight bullish tone when it came to crypto. He seemed like he really liked it. It was the SEC on the other hand where not so much.
Well, they don't like it because their system's so much more corrupt than the commodity system. Because you look at high frequency trades, how many of those trades are actually ever settled?
None.
Right.
None of them.
None.
None of them. That is crazy, man. So speaking of SEC, and we talked about like the DOJ and stuff, Ethereum was considered not a security, right? And
today.
Yeah, today.
But they were very clear that they said today we're not going to regulate it, but in the past it was a security.
Yeah.
They said it was the language was so clear. They said because it's so decentralized now, we're not going to regulate it like a security. But he said, and this is it's not an official declaration of the SEC. It was one of the main guys speaking at a crypto conference. But it was news that everybody wanted to hear. But he was very clear saying if it was centralized, back when it was centralized, when the ICO first came out, it was a security. So
to me, that lays the groundwork. And I actually found an article about that. You guys can see this on the screen now. This is out of CCN. The SEC statement on Ether clears stumbling block for Ethereum futures. So this is what the CBOE president said. What do you think about that, Biggs?
I hate derivatives. Derivatives in cryptos. I mean, we already saw what happens when derivatives come into gold and silver and the US dollar and oil. It's all rigged all the time, every day.
So this is what I'm saying, Biggs. How are the regulators coming in going to help us? I don't understand. It looks like the same.
CBOE is not the regulator. I mean, that's
I'm saying they work hand in hand with the regulators.
The CBOE is a criminal exchange, like the comics,
right?
And
I know. Yep.
NASDAQ and all that. So yeah, they're going to want to. I mean, that's their control mechanism, is to get derivatives on all this stuff. And the SEC approved or the CFTC approved the Bitcoin derivatives. I hate that, and you're right. It's the worst thing. Worst thing for cryptos is getting derivatives into the mix. But look what happened. I don't blame the derivatives in Bitcoin for the Bitcoin fall. It didn't help, and it's one of the tools they use to rig the markets. Most of the market rigging in the cryptos happens at the exchange level, because that's where all the derivatives are traded. Those aren't like on-chain transactions. Those are, maybe they hold 70% of the cryptos that people have in their accounts. And that's what happened to Mt. Gox. It wasn't a hack.
And so that's what I'm saying, man. We need people in crypto, personalities like you, like TruthBlitz, like we need to be able to educate these individuals about, I know you do it as far as telling people not to keep their coins on exchanges, but we're falling into the same pattern game that we're trying to leave. I'll just leave my coins on the exchange. They have, a high level of security. I'll leverage that security and be able to sleep well at night. I'll just leave them on the exchange. And what do we have? Fractional reserve. Yeah, I mean, it's the same, same thing over again.
That's why I didn't want to leave my EOS on Binance to register them, I just did not sit well with me.
But do you know if yours are part of that phishing thing?
No, I looked. As of 2 days ago, they weren't. They were there.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was a one time. I don't know. I don't know anything about it. But you're right. Absolutely. You'd think the Bitcoin people would have learned after Mt. Gox. And a lot of them did. But so many new people have come in since Mt. Gox. They hear about Mt. Gox and they say, oh, yeah. They think, oh, that's what made the price of Bitcoin go from $1,200 down to $100. That's what they think about. They don't think that was an amazing lesson to keep your coins in your own possession. If you don't control your private key, you don't own those cryptos. And that's a third-party risk, especially when the banks are about to go down. I mean, I can't stress this enough. If banks go down, none of the exchanges are going to be open. They can't pay their employees. They're going to walk away with their private keys and run away from the game, just like it happened at Mt. Gox.
Like you said, if the banks go down, all the exchanges are going to basically run off with.
I don't know, man. I don't think that's going to happen, but there will be some logistical issues there.
They'll definitely go bankrupt because
there will be some issues for sure. I don't think they're going to run off with the money per per se. Yeah, that's an added security issue.
Third party, yeah.
Yeah, added risk, man. So we got to get back to being our own bank. That's what the whole theme was back in the day. At least when I got into it, it was about being your own bank, having your private keys, having your public keys. You know, just being in control of your own money. And I hope that I'm not optimistic at this moment, but I hope that that sentiment will change and the community will get back to that. Because to me, we're just looking for regulation. We're looking for the same people to come in and validate something that we don't need validation on. You know.
So you think, like, let the buyer beware? Everybody should, like, fend for themselves. If they make a stupid move, they should be punished for it.
Yeah, man. I'm sorry. I do.
You gotta learn the hard way.
Yeah, I do.
But that means
it's not going to happen though. Now, like the longer I've been in here in this crypto stuff, I'm starting to see like it's just not a realistic.
No. Like look at you know, you got people suing, you know, class action lawsuits, Ripple because they lost $600 fucking dollars.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's insanity.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, you know, another thing to this is the more we go to decentralized exchanges, and we see, you know, Binance is going to be opening one up. You know, hopefully that will help us, you know, to where we won't so much need to worry about that. You know, if we're using decentralized exchanges where basically it's going to keep running, you know, or theoretically it should keep running if the banks crash. You know what I mean?
As long as you control in a decentralized exchange, as long as you control your private keys while you're trading type of stuff. Yeah, that's the best of all worlds. But would that exchange, is it an exchange that is dependent upon the current monetary system staying intact? And see, that's why for years I was, you know, in gold and silver, I was all, hey, you got to keep your gold and silver in your own possession because when we have this derivative meltdown, it's going to take down every bank in the world.
That's why we need those stable coins, because theoretically we could have a DEX, a decentralized exchange, and be able to have and hold stable coins like USDT or whatever one you want to use, TUSD or whatever. That way we're like out of the system fully. You know what I mean?
Wait. Would those coins be backed by US dollars?
They would be, yeah.
Well, if they would, then you're not out of the system because obviously you're reliant on that third party.
No, well, I see what you're saying, but yeah, I guess you're right on that point. But I guess it's just that USD or that stable token is pegged.
That is the golden child. That is an amazing to have that, because you can jump in and out when you think there's going to be a crash coming. You can jump into the stable coin. If there was a true stable coin that was, you know, something you can rely on, audited by, you know, whoever needs to do the audit that we can trust, I think that would be awesome for the crypto world. And that's in a world where both the old fiat system is working enough and the crypto world is taking over a lot of the stuff. And that's where I think we're headed is, you know, the old system's going to crumble and die over the next 10 years and the cryptos are going to continue to build and grow.
So do you think, kind of moving to another topic, Bix, what about this current crypto market, man? We're at roughly 200 and I think almost $90 billion in the market cap. How do you feel about the markets right now?
Well, I'll caveat it by saying that I'm a hodler. So if it goes to zero or it goes to 20 trillion, I'm still a hodler.
Gotcha.
The reason I got into cryptos, the reason I stay in cryptos is I see the old system is dying and the new system is being built and born, and I want to be involved in that system. So whether or not I think the next jump up for the cryptos, the next strong jump up is going to be that big jump, the one where the use case is more visible, where the banks start, you know, freezing up, like say Visa and MasterCard start having problems. And then people are saying, oh my God, what are we going to do without the banks? Because Deutsche Bank went down and you know, I can't buy my cup of coffee. Well, here we have Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash and Dash and whatever your EOS, whatever you want to use to buy your cup of coffee. And that's going to be just and that's going to be the big jump. that's where people are going to say, "Oh my God, there is actually a use case for cryptos."
Do you think that's going to happen in 2018?
If Deutsche Bank goes down, absolutely.
Mm.
If Deutsche Bank goes down, this is what Warren Buffett called the weapon of mass financial destruction.
Mm-hmm.
They are the largest derivative holder of the banks, 50 trillion in derivatives, meaning that if they go down, and there's not a $50 trillion, well, it would probably be $25 trillion bailout, but if they go down, they are counterparty to $50 trillion in derivatives. And with the banks right now and the European situation and Italian banks and Greek banks and all that stuff that was happening in 2008, is everybody can see it now. And now the problem is just bigger. Now it's not the housing debt, it's sovereign debt. And it's bond debt, and it's debt. So if you throw a monkey wrench into the current manipulations, and a monkey wrench as big as $50 trillion bank going down, you have the makings of the need for cryptocurrency.
I would agree with that. I mean,
so it's the big one, and that's the big one. And so I'm not looking at like a 10% jump in the cryptos. I'm looking at a shakeout of the trees, and some cryptos will die, and some cryptos will go up thousands of % overnight.
I agree with you on that tip. That I think that the next move up probably won't look like 2017 did, where everything kind of went up. You know, it didn't matter what it was; it just all went up. I think it's going to be, like you said, a select few, maybe like 30% of all cryptos. 20%.
I don't think that many. I mean, that's hundreds of cryptos, because there's just so many cryptos.
Well, you got I mean, I think it could be that much. I mean, you've got a lot of good projects, you know, that aren't really cryptocurrencies.
If the projects can't continue to develop, because it won't be a stable world, it'll be a world that's shaking everywhere with the banking collapse. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
A lot of these companies won't be able to, pay their programmers because there's no money to pay. And it's one of those things.
Well, they should still have ETH or whatever they raised with their ICO, so that may circumvent.
They have more,
that may be able to help them get through it. But I agree.
All I can say is it feels a lot like 2007, 2008.
Yep.
Where the ground is shaking, but it's like a pre-tremor to the big one. The big earthquake is coming, and you can feel the ground shaking. And ultimately, when we get past this, the cryptos will be the obvious solution. But we got to get past it, and that's why I'm such a hodler and such a guy to say, keep your cryptos out of the system, keep them in your own possession, and just ride this thing out. Because I can't tell you if they're going to go up or down or sideways, but I can tell you that they are most likely going to be the thing we're going to be turning to fix the old problem.
And to add to that, I have always said, and of course it's well known, you got to do your due diligence when you invest in whatever coin or token you have, but you really want to take an extra look at, is this, do I feel like, when that shakeout happens and a bunch of these cryptos die, what are the chances that this will be one of the ones that survives? If it's, you know what I mean? If it's just some, token that, really there's a million competitors to it and ones that actually have a working product or whatever, chances are that token's not going to make it. So I always, I've talked about this in a video or two, where I kind of had to reanalyze what I was holding and say, you know what, this one, whether it was because it was a US-based company that was a security or should have been a security, and, whatever the case, well, like Centra. I got out of Centra before all that happened because of the fact it was based in the US, and I was worried about that. So I sold it, and then look what happened. So just like that, I would say that's another thing to look at. Just kind of reanalyze what you're holding and say, do I honestly think there's a good chance this one will make the cut?
I think with Centra, it was more. I mean, yes, they declared it a security Centra, but there was criminality behind it.
Right. I was just using that as an example.
Yeah. And that's it's a good example of a technology that seemed to be working, except behind the scenes there was a bunch of criminals.
Right, and they had a product, so that one was, you know, they made too many mistakes
there.
at the beginning.
I'm sure Visa's not living up to any agreements, but the Center token I think still trades. So
yeah, it does.
What's the cost that?
Like a penny.
Still. Yeah. So it really hasn't moved from there.
Penny and a half, something like that. I just say, if it comes
is BitConnect? What's the price of BitConnect these days?
More than that, which is ridiculous. Makes no sense.
I had heard. So what was it? Was it Omar Bam talking about it the other day? I think it was. How he had said that, you know, most of the exchanges that still had it listed were delisting it.
Yeah. I'm still wondering, you know,
52 cents, Big. 52 cents. How in the world?
What was the
like
high?
Three. Let's see here. Yeah, like four. 420. $422. They were smoking. They were getting high. 420.
Billions of dollars in market cap for BitConnect.
Right. That one probably. I don't think that I can think of. There's another coin or token that had that much of a decline that fast.
The amazing thing is, no one's been arrested. They haven't found who.
That's ridiculous.
Who was the entity behind it? And,
that's ridiculous.
You know, anybody could take their guess, but yeah.
Just don't say Brock, man, please.
I didn't say a word. What are you talking about? Crypto Blood, how dare you?
That's funny.
See, now all the researchers out there, the guys who follow me, are saying, okay, I'm digging into this one.
Right. Hey, Bitcoin Ben, I told you last time.
I love Ben.
Had a very compelling video about that whole BitConnect thing. It's interesting, man. I don't know.
Well, I posted today. Bitcoin Ben is cool. He said he was part of the what was it? Anonymous.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Really?
He said that. Yeah.
He's connected.
Not anymore. I
don't know.
You're not anonymous if you just.
I know.
Come on, Ben.
Anonymous.
Come on, man. So speaking of people in the space, man, our favorite Uncle Cliff is back, man. He's back into cryptos. What are your thoughts, man? I'm excited. You know, he's been his magic hasn't been that great this year. I'm hoping that with him coming back with this new report, man, it's gonna reveal some new things for cryptos. What are your thoughts? Have you talked to him? Anything you can share?
Yeah, I talk to him as often as he'll pick up the phone when I call him all the time, which is not very often. But yeah, he's coming out with a report. You know, you heard his hand, so he's typing with one hand these days.
Yeah, I heard.
But he's coming out with a report in early July. I don't know what's in the report. I don't know if it's going to be I think it's crypto related, but you never know with Cliff because he's got all these other things going on too. So yeah, I'm excited about. You know, I just love reading his reports like 20 times. I put it on my. I have a phone reader app.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah, I got to get one of those.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do.
But the funny thing is because the way that Cliff writes the reports, you know, put things in brackets, so you got to like
as this up. Yeah,
you're like, oh my god, where is this going? But yeah, Cliff is an amazing human being.
He is.
He's been in the middle of FUD storm, not a FUD storm, a troll storm, and
always will though. If you're notoriety, exactly. They're always going to have.
You take the highs and the lows. You know, when the cryptos were going and blowing in November, December, you know, everybody thought Cliff was a god, and now because of the manipulation or whatever, the price went down. They think Cliff is a shyster, and same with us. It's like, okay, you know, it is what it is, and we're gonna go with it. I don't have any insight into what the report's gonna say or what it's gonna be about, but I do have insight into that it is coming out. And that's all I can really tell you because that's really all I know right now. But you know, Cliff calls me every once in a while and we'll chat about various things. C60 was our latest talk, and
right, I saw that.
I just got my new order today.
yeah, that stuff's amazing. I briefly mentioned the incline bed therapy, which is I got a lot of my subscribers saying, "Oh my God, I've just started it and I feel better already." And all you do is raise the height of the head of your bed by 5 or 6 inches to get a 5-degree incline, and it improves your circulation, which basically drives out all kinds of issues and toxins.
I'll tell you what, I've been sick, and you know, I'll wake up super congested in the middle of the night, or when I first wake up, because I'm laying, you know, flat down. And I noticed that if I incline at least my pillows, so you know, I will feel better in the morning. It's
Stick
crazy.
some books under your beds. Because it really has to do with the gravity pulling down because your circulation, blood circulation is, you got your veins and your arteries, and it's a closed system. So gravity, that's why when astronauts go into space, they're with no gravity, their circulation is off. And why they come back with weaker muscles and they get sick up there and things like that. They can't stay in space too long. It's amazing the amount of issues and problems that are being reported as being fixed by just doing a crazy thing of putting a couple books under the head of your bed to raise the height of your bed, because your circulation, the gravity pulls down the bad stuff, circulates through all the filters in your body, and then, you know, you urinate it out or sweat it out or whatever, however it works. People are coming out with some great results, and I'd say it won't hurt anybody's, you know, to stick a couple books under the head of your bed and see how it goes for a couple weeks.
I actually have some risers, you know, to lift your bed up, so I could, you know, I could use
Look at
those.
you, Mr. Fancy.
Yeah. Well, you know, I don't know why I had them in my daughter's bed, because you could store stuff under it easier, but it's a good thing. I'll probably put those under mine. But as far as the C60 goes, I had stopped taking that. You know, I don't know why. I just stopped. I ran out, and I just never ordered again. And my uncle recently found out he has cancer, and he's not that old. You know, found out tumors in his brain, and then you know, found out that his cancer in his adrenal gland or something like that, and then all kinds of stuff that they just found came out of nowhere. So, you know, that really kind of scared the crap out of me. So now I'm like, you know what? You know, I know there's been a lot of studies with C60 and cancer, killing cancer cells and stopping tumor growth or drastically slowing it. So I'm like, you know, it's going to be part of my religion now, is making sure, you know, and everything that goes along with taking the C60, you know, just trying to take better care of myself. I'm not getting any younger, and that's the thing. Right. I tend to forget. Yeah, you know, I'm in my, you know, mid to late 30s now. You know, I'm not.
The current healthcare system is not going to take care of you. So we got, just like the cryptos, banking system wasn't going to take care of us. So we invented this new thing.
Right.
I think everybody should look into it.
Yeah, I need to get one of those water bottles too. That's what I got to get next. I know you got one. Yeah,
right here.
Yeah, I need to get one of those.
You wash your C60 down with a little of this.
Yep.
Except the C60 olive oil literally tastes like drinking oil.
It does. It does.
Like
I have the sunflower seed, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
I heard the coconut's good too.
Yeah. I unfortunately have the olive oil, but whatever. It was actually a little cheaper, so I went with that. You know, once cryptos go up, you know,
we'll move up to sunflower oil.
There you go.
Again,
can't all be big players like Crypto Blood, right?
Oh man.
Yeah, definitely glad Cliff is back. You know what I mean? The man, he's such a brilliant man. He really is.
He is.
You know, anybody, if you're gonna blame somebody, you know, because cryptos went down, everybody wants somebody to blame, and you know, don't blame somebody for your bad decisions or for the market. You know, it's not his fault or anybody else's fault. So
everybody says, hey, it's highly volatile. If you don't have a stomach for it, don't do it.
Don't put in more than you're willing to lose.
That's why I was preaching last year. You better take profits on the way up. I know you're a hodler for the most part, Biggs, but you got to take profit. If you're not, you got to take profits on the way up, because this game is treacherous.
I wish I did back in December, January, man. I really didn't take too many.
Yeah, you know, like then I go back. Okay, when Bitcoin went from $1,000 up to $1,000 and then down to 100, y'all wish you'd taken profits. It happens every time in the lows,
right?
And it's a good kind of sign that we are at probably a low point, because everybody's so discouraged.
Right.
Nothing but bad news. So if you're looking for kind of ideas of when we're hitting lows, it's this kind of feeling that always happens in the lows.
I've noticed that Bitcoin, it had gone up and it's floating around the 6,700 area, but alts kind of slowly are still dropping, a lot of them anyway. So hopefully we'll see what happens with that. And I know you're a hodler, so that really doesn't matter to you either way. But I'm just, for example, Digibyte, OMG, I got all the little widgets on my phone. Yeah, they're all going down.
Yeah. Except EOS, baby.
Well, EOS is slowly going back up now.
But that's going to be the only crypto we're all going to use. It's going to save.
I hope not. No, I hope not.
That's the claim. Every single problem.
No,
and we can all go.
It is going to. I predict.
Puertopia.
I predict EOS will have a market cap greater than Ethereum in less than 2 years. I'm putting my neck out there. There we go. But Ethereum is not going away. I think there needs to be multiple blockchains, and there will always be in this market. So competition is good. People, for various reasons, won't use EOS, and that's good. There will be one for you. But I'm excited, man.
Yeah, I still am too.
Yeah, I think everybody, although we're beaten up and battered by price action, everybody should be excited that during the next banking collapse, we're going to have an option, because last time we didn't have an option.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yep.
All right, Bix, man. Episode number 2 in the mix with Bix. Man, this is awesome, man. I love him. And I was like, I told Nick, hey, man, hit up Bix. It's about that time. So he was like, yeah. Bix was like, yeah, I'm glad. I'm happy, excited to come back on. So we appreciate your time, Bix.
Sure.
We're episode number 2 in the mix with Bix. We're out of here, people. Peace.
Later.
Just talking about the blockchain. That's when they heard Janet yelling and the cops came. They said, give me all your Bitcoin and lock aim. Then Jamie Dimon showed up and the shots rained. So they hopped in the Lambo and took off fast. Welcome to the Block Party Podcast.